Oh, why aren't they texting me back? Are they mad at me? Do they not like me anymore? I'm scared to ask for reassurance and fear that I
have any urgency to get it done. CD caught wind of this and had a very simple response.
LOL.
That on the screen? Yeah, he said LOL.
LOL.
Jerry can't help himself, can he?
I listen, I say it over and over and over. When it was time for Dez to get paid, same thing. When it's time for Zeke to get paid, the same thing. Are you really serious about winning? You need your best player outside of Dak in camp, building that chemistry and that rapport to make sure when the season does start, you hit the ground running. But no, all the talk he's been doing, all I remember is Jerry saying, you know what, this year, this offseason, I'm all in.
Speaking of optics, and a level of optimism or hype that maybe isn't deserved. Micah Parsons, apparently yesterday in practice, just discombobulated the Cowboys offense. And Micah Parsons says, I'm eating now. It's pretty much over. I'm in rhythm. I can single-handedly wreck the Cowboys offense. Really? Do you remember how dominating Micah Parsons was against the youngest playoff team since 1970, the Green Bay Packers? 2 total tackles, 0 sacks. He was invisible. He was also invisible mostly against Detroit, no sacks, and the Niners, no sacks and 2 pressures. Micah Parsons' 3 worst games of the year last year came against the 3 best teams he faced in the NFC: Detroit, San Francisco, and
Your father knows about saving money. Everything I'm wearing, I've had since boot camp.
And I just saved on my car insurance for driving safe with USAA.
Auto insurance that flexes with you.
Hit the fit.
That's what we're made for.
The best way to explore Fort Lauderdale.
On the water, just steps away from the beach.
Room with a view. The sweet life.
in Green Bay. Didn't do squat. He's talented like Dak. He's not a savior. He's not as powerful as Myles Garrett. He's not as relentless as Bosa for the Niners or TJ Watt for the Steelers. He's not. He's Aiden Hutchinson of the Lions, a very good player. The difference is he is sold to us like a legend, sort of like the quarterback for the Cowboys. Micah Parsons is productive, very good if you look it up against really bad teams, and then disappears in January. Heard that before? His biggest sack game was against awful Carolina. In fact, half of his sacks came against Washington, the Jet, and Carolina. In 4 playoff games, 1 sack, and often invisible. Disappears in January. So today's opening in the herd is deep dive into the numbers with Micah Parsons against the best teams. Deep dive in the numbers about quarterbacks you bail on or support. This is not gymnastics. Numbers, box scores, data, completion percentages, sacks against better tackles. Stuff still matters.
Okay. So I think that's a great take by Colin, and I think it's just deadly accurate. And what I really want to highlight that the problem with Micah is there's just no understanding of the bigger picture. The fact that he's now coming out there and being like, there's nothing they can do, right? He's still just constantly feeling himself in that regard. Like, bro, you were embarrassed against the Packers. Your season ended embarrassingly. Your playoff production is abysmal. And you want to brag about what you're doing in practice right now? That's insane. How about a soundbite like, yeah, I'm feeling great. I'm excited. But you know what? I got my eye on the bigger picture right now. I'm focused on what we can do as a whole, as a team, how I can be better, how the team can be better. Because as we've learned consistently over the last few years, the season really is starting down in January, December, January. That's when those games matter. But instead, he's just like, yeah, that's right. Look what I can do. He did the same thing last offseason, last preseason. Did the same thing. How did that work out for you? Oh, right. A disaster, an embarrassingly awful loss that you then tried to pass on someone else. Not to mention, we know that defense is ahead of offense when you first start off from being off. I talked about this at length. Okay, the defense is always ahead of the offense in football. Same in basketball, same in baseball, same in soccer. It's just how it is. So you're bragging about doing something that should be happening. Happening. It's like bragging about catching footballs. That's right. I catch these passes. Good. You're a wide receiver. You're supposed to catch the ball. Did you see that pass I made? Good. You're a quarterback. You're supposed to make a pass. There's nothing they can do to stop me. You're right. It's August. You should be disrupting the offense right now. It's your literal job. So I have no patience for players like this at this point. I recognize that most teams need players like this, and you're going to have those levels of personality. I do recognize that. But it only works when you are unified, when you have a leader at quarterback, when you have a leader as your coach, and you have a leader as ownership. That's why I can work with, say, the Kansas City Chiefs. Why I could work with Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. They can absorb those personalities. But when you're in the me, Dallas Cowboys, no. What happens? You have consistently embarrassing losses in the playoffs. But we won 12 games. That means nothing. The Kansas City Chiefs didn't win 12 games, and they still won a Super Bowl. So what would you rather have? Win those 12 games a bunch of years in a row, or do you actually want to get to Super Bowls or win Super Bowls? Like, to me, I find this embarrassing. If I was a hardcore Dallas Cowboys fan, or even just a casual Dallas Cowboys fan, I would be like, will you just shut up? Will you just stop? You're bragging about being able to tie your discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community.